Imagine getting paid just for sharing your thoughts on products and services you use every day. With Survey Junkie, it's that simple. Click on the link in the video description to discover how you can start earning today by taking surveys.
Support for the coalition has risen to the highest point in almost 3 years as Peter Dutton closes in on Anthony Albanese as preferred leader, according to a new poll. The Prime Minister's party has been hammered in recent weeks over its handling of the immigration detainee scandal, and any hope of a post-budget boost to electoral fortunes appears to have evaporated. The latest news poll, conducted by The Australian, found the coalition's primary vote has risen 2 points to 39%, while support for Labour has dropped to 33%. With less than a year until the next election, it represents the strongest primary vote for the coalition since August 2021, when Scott Morrison was Prime Minister. Most worryingly for Mr. Albanese personally is the opposition leader's rise in popularity among voters. The Prime Minister's lead over Mr. Dutton has been cut from 19 points 3 weeks ago to just 8 in the latest poll. Those who believed Mr. Albanese would make a better Prime Minister fell by 6 points to 46%, while support for Mr. Dutton rose 5 points to 38%. This marks the narrowest lead Mr. Albanese has had over his rival since the election. It means that the two leaders are now almost neck and neck in terms of net overall approval ratings. The survey, which quizzed 1,232 voters across Australia between June 3 to 7, also found support for the Greens fell by 2 points to 11%, its lowest since September 2022. It indicates that the odds of a hung parliament at the next election have risen, with Labour likely to be forced into minority government with the Greens or independents. Mr. Albanese and Mr. Dutton have most recently traded barbs over the direction of Australia's energy policy. The opposition leader said he would dump Australia's 2030 target to cut emissions by 43% from 2005 levels, should the coalition win the next federal election. Instead, Mr. Dutton has backed the use of nuclear power in the fight for reaching net zero by 2050. Under the Paris Agreement, members must increase their emissions targets every 5 years and cannot water them down. It commits countries to taking measures that limit global temperature rises to 1.5 C and to keep them below 2 C. Mr. Albanese said Mr. Dutton was never serious about climate change. He still won't tell the Australian people where he plans to put his nuclear reactors or how much they will cost, Mr. Albanese wrote on X. Climate groups warn going back on Australia's targets could hamper investment as the nation transitions to a cleaner economy. Such a move could risk Australia's membership of the Paris Agreement on climate change. Energy Minister Chris Bowen described the coalition's explanation of its policy as a rolling disaster. The fact of the matter is the Paris Accord is crystal clear, there can be no backsliding, he said. If you reduce your target, then you're in breach of the Paris Accord.